Here is this mega star, one of those that we look up in the big screen, wondering, what do they think about love? What do they think about marriage? What do they think about education? And he couldn't make up his mind about a meager interview. He was a puppet on a string, part of a media apparatus that was not controlled by him at all. So that's incident number one. Another incident was in 1976, I think. Or 5, the United Nations voted that Zionism is racism. Some of you remember that? The brilliant house of lies, as the Lubavitcher Rebbe used to call it, decided that the Zionism as a movement is equal to racism. So I got a call from Dori Sherry, who I did not recognize, of course, and he was the head of 20th Century Fox, and he was the one who did 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, and a million other things. But he was the head of the ADL, and he said, I really think that you should have an interview on your show to refute the fact that Zionism is racism. And I said, of course, that's a brilliant idea. But if you had asked me at the time who I was, this is how I would have described myself. I was American-Israeli, I had dual citizenship, I was a journalist, I was a feminist, I was a humanist, I was an ethicist, I was a liberal, and I was Jewish. What's the big deal about Jewish? I was Israeli. So I never fasted on Yom Kippur. But I did know what matzah was, and I did know what a latke was, and gefilte fish I knew because I had Ashkenazic friends. But that was who I was. So to me, what does a bent backward liberal Israeli do when she gets an offer like that? She says, of course I'm going to do an interview, but I'm going to invite the PLO to share the podium because I want to have an even-handed interview. Nobody asked me. My boss didn't force me. I'm Israeli, I'm Jewish. What am I going? The PLO was not even granted status at the time of observers in the United Nations. It was illegal for me to even call them in Israel. But I decided I'm going to call them for NBC. We're going to have a wonderful interview. At the time I wasn't married, and my name was Sidi. Sidi is a Moorish title. It means Arab. In Arabic it means Lord or Master. You remember the movie El Cid with Charlton Heston? Okay. So my name was Molly Sidi. So here I go, I call the PLO. Hello, Mr. PLO. This is Molly Sidi from NBC TV. And I would like to invite you to my interview segment to come and to tell us that Zionism is racism. He said, oh, marhaba, kif halak, salamu alaikum, I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak Arabic. So he says, Molly Sidi, so where are you from, Molly Sidi? I said, I am from Tel Aviv, Israel. And after the deathly silence on the phone, he says, you are from Tel Aviv, Israel, and you want me to say that Zionism is racism? See, because he knew I was an idiot, but I didn't. So you get the picture? This young lady comes to America, thinks she's running the world, and something is saying, what's it all about? So I decide that I'm going to take a leave of absence from NBC, and I'm going to take a trip around the world. I'm going to go and seek the true bluebird of happiness, the meaning of life, and everybody who walks into the studio in the subsequent 6 months that I prepare my trip, I ask, who do you know around the world, and can you give me a letter of recommendation? So I had exceedingly interesting letters of recommendation. One was to Marlon Brando on his island in the Pacific. The other one was to Hope, the Queen of Sikkim, an American who had married the king in the Himalayas. You remember? I was even promised, and President Carter, who was running at the time, gave me the name of the governor of the islands west of Hawaii. And then I was promised that I could sleep in Marie Antoinette's bed in Versailles Palace, and I was that. So now, where do you go? This was 28 years ago, when you have no direction except that you want to find the truth. And it was February. So I decided, where do I have a light suitcase?